Welcome to another edition of Bet with Bobano. Monday, May 13th. Ian Cameron with you. Connor Mack will be along shortly, ready to look at the Monday slate in MLB and in the NBA playoffs here on this Monday. Let's get right into it, and we will begin with the Toronto Blue Jays and the Baltimore Orioles. AL East matchup. Jose Barrios for the Blue Jays and Corbin Burnes for the Baltimore Orioles. Pretty good pitching matchup here. Baltimore minus 175, home favorites, 7.5 the total in this one. Toronto, another series loss for them, but a disappointing season continues, 18-22. Now they go on the road to Camden Yards, and the Orioles, 26-13. They won 2 of 3 against Arizona at home over the weekend. Jose Barrios, though, has been one of the bright lights of the season for the Blue Jays as far as starting pitching. He's had a great start pretty much in every game until the last game against the Philadelphia Phillies, where he got rocked and gave up 8 runs in just 3.2 innings. So Barrios looking to bounce back. He has pitched a couple of good games against Baltimore in the past, but last year, in the most recent outing against the Orioles last August in this ballpark, he gave up 5 runs on 9 hits in 6 innings, so he did kind of struggle in that game. Corbin Burnes, big offseason acquisition to anchor this starting rotation, and he's been pretty consistent, 3 runs or less in the majority of his starts for Corbin Burnes. We'll see if he can keep that rolling here tonight. Orioles have actually lost his last 3 starts. So 0-3 they are in his last 3 starts. We'll see if they can bounce back for him. Didn't really give him any run support, though. He pitched well enough, but they only scored 2 in a loss to Oakland, shut out in a loss to the Yankees, shut out in a loss to Washington in Corbin Burnes' last 3 starts. I'd probably lean a little bit here to an under in this game. First half, full game. I think both pitchers have the potential to pitch well. It's funny, Baltimore, as far as their offense is concerned, they haven't been pummeling the ball game in, game out like we sometimes expect of them. We'll see how this fares in this game tonight for the Orioles. But right now, I do want to point out they have been certainly a little more proficient as far as runs per game scored against right-handed pitching. We'll see if that continues tonight. And we know, certainly from a bullpen standpoint, the Orioles have the better bullpen, 3.97 team ERA bullpen, 5.48 or 5.15, bullpen ERA for the Blue Jays. So definitely a late inning edge for Baltimore with their bullpen. So I'd probably look, like I said, first 5 under, full game under split here, Blue Jays and Orioles tonight. The only concern is the weather's pretty warm for middle of May in Baltimore. So the ball could be flying a bit, but like I said, certainly the Blue Jays offense can't always trust them. So we'll see if that maybe can stay under the total with 2 decent pitchers on the mound. All right, Marlins and Tigers, Sixto Sanchez and Matt Manning, the pitching matchup in this one. Detroit currently minus 170 home favorites, 9 the total, shaded to the under in this game. I was able to cash a ticket with the Detroit Tigers. I know when Skubal was on the mound for them over the weekend. We'll see if he's able to keep pitching, or we'll see if Detroit's able to keep the winning vibes going here. They won that game 8-2. They lost yesterday 9-3 at the hands of the Astros, looking to bounce back in this start. Matt Manning will get the nod. This will be his first start of the season for the Detroit Tigers. He's someone that's been in this rotation for quite some time, but he's started the year in AAA with Toledo. He'll be back in the rotation starting tonight for the Tigers. This was originally going to be Kenta Maeda's start, but he's battling an illness and then placed on a 15-day injured list, although it's not technically an injury with him. It's an illness, keeping Kenta Maeda out. So it will be Manning making the start. 4.36 ERA in his career against the pitching, I should say, for the Detroit Tigers. But again, this is a Marlins lineup where, look, we know this Miami team can be challenged at times at the plate. Although shockingly yesterday they got to Zach Wheeler, a very good pitcher for the Phillies. That was a little surprising given, the struggles we've often seen from the Marlins lineup. I'm not so sure that's going to duplicate itself. Keep in mind, before that win against Philly yesterday, this team had scored 3 runs or less in 5 straight losses before that. So it's not like we can necessarily trust Miami to keep hitting from one game to the next. Manning is actually He did pitch well down the stretch last year for the Detroit Tigers. He got a bunch of starts August and September and ended the season. The Tigers did 4-1 in his last 5 starts. So I think this would be probably some kind of Detroit first 5 full game run line split type of look if I were to get involved. Sixto Sanchez is someone that I'm not really fully confident in just yet. He's made 3 starts. He's not pitching deep into games. That's another thing that would concern me. 2.2 innings and then 4 innings in each of his last 2 starts, and he's given up 10 runs, 15 hits in those 10.2 innings, which isn't great. So I would probably lean Tigers here, first 5 full game run line split. All right, next up we've got Phillies and Mets. Christopher Sanchez, Sean Manaea, the pitching matchup. We've got even money here, -110 both sides, 7.5 the total. Mets did play Sunday Night Baseball last night against Atlanta, but the good news is no travel. So we talk about how sometimes we like to bet against that team that played on Sunday Night Baseball, but again, the Mets played at home last night, and it's still at Citi Field, so there's no travel. I think the problem for the Mets is, they have to deal with this Phillies team that is just on absolute fire, especially at the plate. Even yesterday, they lose to the Marlins 7-6. They still scored 6 runs. I mean, it is just very difficult to stop this offense right now. Collectively, they have been so good. Christopher Sanchez is coming off a great start against Toronto, 1 run in 7 innings. Kind of got hit around a couple starts before that, but certainly did bounce back. If you look at the Mets, though, one thing to point out with them, they're only hitting it looks like 219 rather against lefties. Meanwhile, you flip it around, and the Philadelphia Phillies, who are also up against a lefty tonight, Sean Manaea, they are hitting 269 as a team against lefties. So that's 50 collective points better batting average for the Phillies against lefties than for the Mets. That's definitely something to focus in on here going into this game tonight. Now, to Sean Manaea's credit, he's been all right here the last 4 starts, 3 runs or less. And ever since he got crushed by Kansas City early in April, he's pitched a lot better. And the Mets are 4-0 in his last 4 starts. But this is a Phillies team that matches up well from that side, that split against lefties. They've been very solid. I've been on a bunch of Phillies team totals lately, including yesterday, and that was the beauty of betting the team total. They lost the game, and they still went over their 4.5 team total. That's probably the way I would bet this one. Phillies team total over 4.5 here. You can get that right now at actually 3.5. So pretty reasonable considering how well this Phillies team has been hitting lately. So, Phillies team total over 3.5 would probably be the way I'd go in this one. C-Mac is with us now. Connor, what do you think here, Phillies and Mets?
Yeah, it's like, why the fuck is this total this low here? I mean, I get it. The Mets didn't leave the Phillies did. They left South Florida after losing that one in extras. Sanchez has been pretty good, and the Mets, the bats have been tough. That was a good spot for them last night, and it showed the line moved that way to basically -105, and I should have been on the Mets, but I just can't trust them at all. The Phillies are keep raking, like you mentioned, especially off lefties. Manaea, I don't know how long this continues. Like the last game,
you're facing one of the best lineups going tonight. Let's see it continue tonight. I have my doubts.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like they're telling you it's just like 3.5. Are you kidding me? With their team total. Yesterday, the Twins finally got there. The Phillies was another easy one. The lineup's been great. The guys that eat him, Harper hits lefties well, but like Sosa, Bohm, Merrifield, they're going to put all these guys in, stack righties to get to him. I was going to mention that last game, the Cardinals have just been so awful. I mean, he's not going to keep getting by with not giving up any runs with 1 strikeout like he had his last start, which was head scratching. That's just how bad the Cardinals have been. So, yeah, I still don't know why this isn't 8, 8.5. But, I mean, we're seeing low totals because it's kind of what's going on early on in the year. But I don't buy it.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think I lean over too, the full game over, but I like the Phillies team total over 3.5 even more than that. All right, next up we've got Rays and Red Sox. Zach Eflin and Cutter Crawford, the matchup here, pretty much even money, -110 both sides, 8.5 the total in this game. we're kind of seeing it again with Zach Eflin. He is really damn good at Tropicana Field, like really, really good. But on the road, he's a little more shaky. I mean, the Brewers start, he gives up 3 runs, 6 hits, and 5 innings. White Sox, who are not a great team, and he gives up 5 runs, 9 hits, and 6 innings on the road. So his road starts, he's more vulnerable. There's no question about it. Now, I did pitch against the Red Sox twice last year, and he won both starts. 3 runs, 5 hits, 5 innings, identical stat line in both games. So he pitched okay. I wouldn't say great, but he pitched okay and certainly good enough to win these games for the Rays last year against the Red Sox. But they got to face Cutter Crawford tonight, who I actually do like quite a bit, kind of a bet on pitcher for me. He's given up 2 runs or less in 4 of his last 5 starts. The only kind of rough start was against the Cubs. Other than that, he's pitched really well. If you look at the splits here, slightly better, not by leaps and bounds, but slightly better against righty pitching for the Red Sox this year. They do have, believe it or not, we talk about this Rays bullpen for years and how good they are, and they just reload this great relief core. This year, not so much. I mean, 4.83 bullpen ERA for Tampa Bay. Boston, 3.19 with their bullpen ERA. So I'd actually take Boston here, I think, at even money. And I'd go full game because I do think there's a slight bullpen edge for the Red Sox. So right now I'm leaning Boston. I'm a Cutter Crawford guy. What do you think here, Connor Mack?
Yeah, I like Boston here in this one. Weather's decent. I mean, it's still a little bit cold. I think it's nice, though. It's 60 degrees. His road is where I want. He finally was better last year, and he had 1 good start against the Yankees, but the other 3, it keeps me at pause a little bit because I want this under here, full game, 8.5. I think Cutter Crawford can pitch well. He's been solid, especially solid at home. I don't think the Red Sox bats, they're dealing with some injuries. They just haven't been very good. I know they've been a lot worse versus lefties, but I think get the win here. I need Eflin to pitch decent, and that's why I'm not going first 5. And the first 5's 4 here. I'm just going to go full game. I like these bullpens. I know the Rays haven't been great, but solid bullpen for years and years and years. I think they get better, and surprisingly, the Red Sox have been all right. So I'm on the full game under 8.5.
All right, full game under here for Connor with Rays and Red Sox. All right, next up, Cubs and Braves. Shota Imanaga, the lefty for the Cubs. Reynaldo Lopez for Atlanta. We've got the Braves minus 140 home favorites, 8 the total here in this game. This is now for an extended stretch of games now, really for the last 10, where the Braves offense just isn't clicking, at the level we think they're capable of. I mean, there's been a lot of 2, a lot of 3 in the runs scored here from them in the last several games. Against the Mets, they did score 4 a couple times, but that was their high water mark. They lose 4-3 last night in the series finale to the Mets. Imanaga is someone I like. He's pitched really well. I mean, what can you say? 5-0. In his last 5 starts. The Cubs are 5-0 in his last 5 starts for Imanaga here on the mound. Atlanta against lefties, though, they do have good numbers. So we'll see. 257 average, 6.3 runs per game. But, man, Imanaga's form's been good. We'll see how the Cubs fare here against Reynaldo Lopez in this game. But certainly Lopez has been, better than I thought for this Atlanta team. He's been pretty consistent. They're 4-1 in his last 5 starts, the Braves, and he's given up 3 runs or less in each of his last 5 starts. Very solid outing against the Red Sox. Now, the one thing I would say about Lopez is, Imanaga's had great control. There's been some walk issues lately for Reynaldo Lopez, so we'll see if he can iron those out going into this start. I'm kind of interested in the Cubs here. My only concern would be, because, again, you also got Atlanta Sunday night baseball last night, Citi Field, against the Mets, and you're traveling now, no day off, back home down to Atlanta and Truist Field or whatever they're calling it now for this game. So, like I said, I think the Cubs at this price, I don't mind the shot. Because Imanaga's form is good. My only concern would be the lefty split, and Atlanta has hit lefties pretty good. But there's a lefty that's in good form right now. Connor, what do you think here, Cubs Braves?
Yeah, I like the Cubs here. I think you got to take them first 5.
Yeah.
This Braves lineup, it could break out. They just, Olsen hasn't been there. Ozuna's had a really good year. Ronald Acuna, just the extra base hits aren't there as of yet. So Austin Riley, lefty's not going to be in the lineup. Yeah, both these teams kind of traveling here after yesterday. So I hate to do it with these lineups, but with the pitchers, and there's going to be, which this is baseball, but man, just the setup's a little bit caught my eye is he could get hit. And this is like a lineup that he would. You talked about the numbers with the Braves. But he's just been so fucking damn good. It's hard to, if you've been rolling with him, just to jump off. Because I think this is an under. Lopez has pitched well. I think, the Cubs scored some runs there against the Pirates, and they're getting health. They got Bellinger back. Suzuki's in there. So maybe this is a bit tricky, but I think you look at the under as well with the travel situation. So lean under. I'll have a piece of the Cubs first 5 as well.
Yeah, I would definitely I would either go just first 5 with the Cubs or at least put more on the first 5 than the full game, because there is a concern, and I'll get to this about their opponent over the weekend as well, Pittsburgh. The bullpen was used a lot for the Cubs, so you do worry about that a little bit, and we'll get to that with Pittsburgh as well later when they play tonight as well. All right, Washington, Chicago White Sox. Next up, Trevor Williams and Chris Flexen. The matchup here, Nationals -120, road favorites. The total sitting at 8.5, pretty much across the board. Trevor Williams, we've had Trevor Williams on one of these Bet with Bobano shows a few times now. He's come up as the starting pitcher. I'm kind of waiting for him to fall off a little bit, but he's not falling off. He's pitching really well. Really well. I mean, in Baltimore, to shut out the Orioles, strike them out 8 times, and hold them to 2 hits, that's pretty damn good for Trevor Williams. So I got to give him his due. Tip the cap. He's pitching well. The Nats are 4-0 in his last 4 starts. Flexen has even turned it around after a bit of a tough start. He's given up just 3 runs in his last 3 starts to the Twins, the Rays, twice the Rays and the Twins in those 3 starts. So he's pitched a lot better. Could this maybe stay under the total? I mean, you would not think before the season. I mean, Flexen was not high on my bet on list. Neither was Trevor Williams. You would have given me 8.5. I'd be betting over with these 2 guys before the season. But Flexen's last 3 starts have been good. Williams has been really, really strong. So I'm not as running to bet an over here with the way they're in form right now. The White Sox were starting to play better. They have actually gone with a winning record here, 6-3 in their last 9 games. The Nats kind of had a rough series against Boston. They've lost 3 of the last 4, but they've been very good with Williams. He's been good on the road. You start to look at the bullpen. There's still a bit of an advantage for Washington as far as the bullpen. And as far as the splits are concerned, still better splits for the Nats against righties. So I'd probably lean Washington here. Small enough road favorite that I would lean that way. I don't love it, but if I had to choose, I would take Washington here. Williams, again, 4-0 last 4 starts, the Nats with him on the mound. What do you think here, Connor?
Shout out to our dude, Stimmy OG, my man. There's some crazy numbers I was looking at. We just go through the trends of flexing in interleague games. It's all gone over. But Williams has pitched so good on the old. And flexing, it looks like the pitcher from 2021 when he pitched well, kind of the last 4 games. Penna, that year when he went like 14-5 or 14-6 with the Mariners, because the last couple have been rough. So do we get runs or are we going to keep seeing it? So this was just, everything was going crossing, and I just said, I'm off. I don't want to be on either side. This is a low dogs for the White Sox. I just had to pass.
All right, nothing wrong with that when you're struggling with a certain matchup. And yeah, this one's a little tricky. I agree. I would take Washington though if I had to.
And there's weather. Is maybe rain. Yep. I just know there's rain. I don't know how bad it is during the game.
Off and on is what it's looking like. But again, sometimes you don't want any sort of delay.
Later in the game, maybe. It looks like.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, Mitch Keller, Colin Ray, the pitching matchup here. We've got the Brewers -140 home favorites, 8.5 the total in this game. Colin Ray, is someone that I'll be honest, I haven't been overly excited about. He didn't pitch great his last start, 4 runs, 7 hits, 4.2 innings against Kansas City. But it's been weird with him, where he pitches a gem, then gets lit up, pitches a gem, and then gets lit up. That's kind of been the pattern with Colin Ray here the last 4 starts. Mitch Keller hasn't had the best start to the season by any stretch of the imagination here for the Pittsburgh Pirates, entering this game so far with a 4.41 ERA overall, 5.09 ERA on the road, which is significant. His road ERA jumps up significantly. That matters here. I would probably look at Milwaukee and either team total or Milwaukee full game money line. And I stress full game money line because Pittsburgh's bullpen over the weekend, I mean, they were taxed. They used a shit ton of relievers, and they didn't pitch great either, but they had to go through a lot. With Paul Skeen's debut was cut short. He's kind of struggled, and then the rain delay, and they had to go to the bullpen a shit ton of times. That game was nuts, and they have a very depleted bullpen heading into this game with no day off too, because again, this is a Monday, so no day off. So that Pittsburgh bullpen could be in very rough shape tonight for this game. So it probably gives the Brewers a big edge late in the game. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, it does, and they probably win this one. I've had both problems with these pitchers is when they're going to be on. Keller's all of a sudden been better, but I don't trust him. The game had worked out fading Sonny Gray, a righty and a road start. Like this is with Keller. I think he could hit. Brewers just choked yesterday. This team, when you think they're going to kill it, and they go up 3-1, and they can't get anything else, and the Cardinals are horrible right now. Sneak in and win. Yeah, I know we got to kind of put that shit in the back door, but it's tough when you got your money on them, Bobano. And when they're minus 140, I don't really want them here. I just pass. Maybe they get their team total. I don't know what Keller's going to show up because he could just look so good and strike out 9, walk 1, and go 6 or 7, or he can give it 4 or 5. So I had to be off.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. All right, next up, we've got Cleveland, Texas, Tanner Bybee, Michael Lorenzen, the pitching matchup here in this one. Pretty much even money, pretty close to it. 9 the total, up from 8.5 here in this game. And I understand why they're betting it over. I don't think Tanner Bybee is right. I really don't. Like, he hasn't pitched great. The home runs have been an issue. He's given up 10 runs and 13 hits in his last 2 starts, 9 innings against the Angels and the Tigers. So hasn't been pretty here for Tanner Bybee the last 2 starts for the Cleveland Guardians. We'll see if he can turn it around here, but not going to be easy. Texas has decent numbers against righties this year. Meanwhile, you got Michael Lorenzen, and don't trust him flat out. I know he had that great little stretch there. Some parts of his time with the Angels were good. Most of his time in Philly was a disaster. And now here with Texas, he had a decent first few starts, but you look at the 2 of the last 3, got lit up by Cincy, lit up by Oakland, in the last start that he made about 5 days ago. So to me, it's just a clear over type of spot here, Cleveland and Texas. 2 underrated. What's been funny about Cleveland is that for years we've thought no offense, good pitching, good bullpen, good under team. Not this year. The pitching's not as good. The bullpen's kind of dicey compared to years past, and they got a better hitting team, I think. Certainly they've been scoring more runs this year than they often have in the past. They're 21-18 to the over so far this season, Cleveland. So for me, over the total, 8.5, I got in on it at that number. It's gone up. I still like it at 9. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, can we get a weird opposite effect for the Rangers, which usually when you leave Coors Field, they're not going to hit. But they didn't hit anything in Coors Field. It was just awful and got swept. And the second game I had the over. I think it was 11-3. I thought about it yesterday, and it was 2-1 after 1, nothing else. Rockies win 3-1. So maybe coming back home's good. This has moved to 9. I think Lorenzen does get hit. And it's tough for me to trust Bybee. I don't know what we get. He was so money for me because I was ahead of him and on his unders last year when he was really, really good. But he's had these horrible blow-up innings. He goes like 3, and then it's like the 4th or 5th. Just
he has one disaster.
Everything goes haywire. Yeah. It's just the walks. It's just a big homer. It's been killing him. Yeah, I don't really want either of these teams, so this is a pass. Maybe we do get a bunch of runs. Like I meant, opposite effect with these 2 teams. I mean, really the Rangers leaving Coors.
I'd actually lean to Bybee in Cleveland, but maybe I will bet Cleveland for something here, but because I have more faith in him turning it around than Lorenzen, but he has been struggling. I like the over, though, more than anything here. I do think we'll see a few runs scored here in Arlington tonight. All right, Oakland, Houston, Ross Stripling and Spaghetti Arrighetti for the Astros. Spencer Arrighetti. We've got Houston minus 175, minus 180. Home favorites, 8.5 being the total in this game. Oakland lost 2 of 3 over the weekend against Seattle. And then before that, they had a crazy series with Texas, a lot of runs. 6-0 to the over now for Oakland in the last 6 games. That's kind of where I'm at in this game. I would lean that way over the total here, over 8.5. I'm not a big look. Ross Stripling with the Dodgers, serviceable, and actually had some nice moments in Toronto as well. Ross Stripling, but this year for some reason, I don't know. He looks like he's whether it's age, whether it's other stuff adding up, he's just not been as effective. 5.14 ERA, 5.94 ERA on the road. So he's got almost a 6 ERA on the road this year. Ross Stripling. It's not what you want to see. Arrighetti's not someone I trust. He's a very young pitcher. They think he can be better in the long term, but I don't think he's major league ready. He's had more bad starts than good starts. He got roughed up by the Yankees the last time we saw him. So ditto is the last game for me. Over if I'm betting Oakland, Houston. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, like why is this not moved to 9? It seems like a lot of overlook. Stripling, he's got to start pitching better, I think. I mean, he's just been the shits. I don't know how. I think you got to take a shot, though, with him, even though how bad he's been. First 5 with Oakland here at this. Arrighetti, the first start was bad at home. The other 2 were better because he's just on the road. Those other ones have been awful. Yeah, this is like, how is this not an over type game? I need to look in a couple of these a little bit more. Obviously, the pitchers. Astros with a big win yesterday. That was late. I was all over the Tigers, and right before I just thought I laid off it. There was some late money with the Astros. Verlander pitched great, which was needed. Tigers still can't hit. The team still has just problems. We can get to them. But, yeah, A's here. A's lean over.
All right.
Maybe we get a Jim, but, I mean, we get these weird 2 shitty pitchers, and it's a 5-2 game.
Yeah, and tons of walks for Arrighetti as well. Like he's got
they've been
hand issues right now also, and that's not what you want to see either at this point in time. All right, next up we've got the Cardinals and the Angels as we start to head out west for the remainder of the card. Liberatore for the Cardinals on the mound, Matthew Liberatore and Jose Soriano for the Angels. We've got the Angels. That's actually pretty much even money here, minus 110, 8.5 being the total in this one. Soriano for the Angels, he's kind of been all over the map. If you look at some of his results, roughed up in a couple, pitched a gem against Cleveland, a very good team. So kind of hard to pin down what he's going to do from one start to the next. The one thing we know about St. Louis is paltry, 216 average, 3.4 runs per game against righties, or overall for the season. A little bit better against righties, but not a ton. The Angels, they'll go up against Liberatore here for the Cardinals, getting the start tonight. We saw him get the start against the White Sox. 3.2 innings, 1 run, 3 hits. Probably give way to the bullpen for St. Louis for the majority of the game. And it is worth noting, as far as the bullpen goes, Cardinals bullpen, decent, believe it or not, 4 ERA. And certainly that is good enough to be better than the Angels bullpen, which continues to have issues. So I don't have much here. Probably a pass game all around. Nothing I really want to get involved with. What do you think, Connor?
Ugly, goddamn game. Unless the Cardinals start, the bats wake up. I'm sure they will here. But I can't put my money on them. Just no way. Liberatore, no. And the Angels aren't better. This lineup's awful. They did beat the Royals once over the weekend, and this has moved to the Cardinals just a little bit. I mean, they were like plus 105 or something. This has moved to them a tad bit, but I'd be on the Angels. I think Soriano could pitch all right. I'm going off of this Cardinals team. Just can't hit a lick. And right now, this would be the Angels and lean under.
I kind of agree. I'd lean Angels. I'm not betting it. At the end of the day, 5-14 at home for the Angels. It's very difficult to bet that, especially at even money. So, but that's why I stay away. For me, that's a clear decision for me. Just stay off that one. All right, Reds and Diamondbacks. Graham Ashcraft, Jordan Montgomery, the matchup. Arizona minus 160, home favorites, 8.5 the total. here in this game. I had Reds first 5 in full game yesterday against the Giants, and it looked like at least in the first 5 I was going to get a win. And then the fucking roof caved in.
Bottom of the fifth.
Oh my gosh, what a tough beat that was. 3-0 lead for Cincinnati turns into a 5-3 lead for San Francisco, and then that was, well, actually, you know what? The Reds battled back, tied it, gave me hope again for the full game part of that split bet, and then they lose it in extra innings. So that was frustrating. Heartbreak City twice with the Reds first 5 and Reds full game yesterday. It's been tough. 1-9 in their last 10 games. Arizona is starting to heat up. They've gone 5-2 in their last 7. Graham Ashcraft, though, is pretty solid. He's always someone I don't mind backing. But again, 0-3 for Cincinnati in his last 3 starts. Not because Ashcraft has been bad. He's been very good. They can't hit for him. I mean, they scored 1 run against Texas. They lose for him. 2 runs against San Diego. They lose for him. 3 runs against Arizona. They lose for him. Now he'll face Arizona again here, turnaround. Montgomery pitched well against Cincinnati last time. Same matchup as well. May the 8th, they faced each other. Same 2 guys once again. I feel there's, with the way Ashcraft's pitched lately for the Reds, I feel there's some value on them, but it's one of those deals where they put me through the old torture chamber yesterday. I don't know if I want to relive that again, but I would lean Reds. I do think there's a little value in their price. I know they're 1-9 in their last 10, but this is a good pitcher. This is a capable pitcher, at least, to keep them in the game. What do you think here, Connor? Cincy, Arizona.
Yeah, the weather's all right. And they're not. I mean, this was the only part of the year that they could have the roof open at 85 degrees, which I need to check that, because this is an under for me, how these teams are playing. And the travel spot, D-backs come back home, Reds here. It seems, I like Ashcraft. I think he could pitch well. It's just taking under always for me. There is not an easy thing. So I need to look at that. But I was liking everything to this under. First 5, 4.5. I could get burned. So I'm going to look into that. And the Reds, I thought they'd start to get going, and they did a little bit, score some runs in San Francisco, but maybe wait till they get back home off this trip. So leaning strong here to this under. This caught my eye early last night.
All right, we got Rockies and Padres. Vasquez on the mound for the Padres and Dakota Hudson for the Rockies. San Diego minus 210, home favorites, 8 being the total in this game. Dakota Hudson, 1-4 the Rockies in his last 5 starts. Hasn't been great. Been giving up 4 runs or more in 4 of his last 5 starts. That's not good enough. Got roughed up by the Padres last time he faced them at Coors. Crazy game that was, 10-9. The Rockies still won, but they out-hit their problems that Hudson had in that game. Meanwhile, Randy Vasquez, he's going to be someone that's not going to go deep. You're going to get 3 innings, 4, maybe 5 out of him if you're lucky, but that's about it. He gave up 4 runs, 5 hits against Toronto in 5 innings, April 20th. He gave up 4 runs, 6 hits, 2.2 innings against the Rockies, April 25th. And then his last start was better against the Cubs, 1 run, 5 hits, 4.1 innings. We'll see how he fares. Both of these guys pitched against the opposing lineup earlier this season, and they both struggled. So does it maybe go over the total? I would lean that way. Other than that, that's probably it. Nothing on the side for me. 2 suspect pitchers, though, to me. And again, Colorado hit Vasquez when they saw him in April, and San Diego hit Hudson when they saw him in April. What do you think here, Connor?
I got the roof. The roof will be closed in the Reds D-backs game. I like that a little bit more. I just thought, because once it gets hot, it's done. Because usually the last few years, it's only been open a couple times, like early in the year, Bobano, when the weather's 75 degrees, shit like that. Okay, so it's closed. I lean under here. This is going from 8.5 to 8. The Rockies bats, though, have come alive, and it's just in that homestand. But now they hit the road, and this is when they score 2 runs. You know, even with these 2 guys on the mound that are the shits. So that's why it's
You're
tough
right,
with the 8.
Hit on the road. I will give you that.
Oh, they can't hit righties, lefties. They can't hit anything. It was good to see him score some runs and at least win some games at home at some nice plus prices. And this is just too big, though, for the Padres. I mean, they're the better team, but over minus 200, I don't really want. You have to take them on the run line. And if this was still, I still had that 8.5 at Beno, I'd like this under a lot more. But tough with Hudson and Vasquez. There could just be a few runs, a 3-run bomb, and get it over. So, but lean under.
All right, next up, we got 2 games left, Royals and Mariners. Brady Singer, George Kirby, the matchup here. Minus 150 home favorite, 7 the total. I mean, first thought is first 5 under between these two guys. Although Singer, you keep waiting for Singer to get rolling. He is starting to do that, it looks like, for the Royals. Last 3 starts for him, 1 run in each of his 3 starts against Tigers, Rangers, and Brewers. So he's pitched a lot better. See if he can keep that going. Kirby, the last start against Minnesota was one of those, I think, weird games, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't it that game he got off to that rough start? Yeah, he gave up 3 runs in the first 2 innings. Then he kind of settled down after that. And then before that, Kirby had pitched quite well for Seattle. 4 straight starts before his last outing against Minnesota, and 4 straight starts before that, he gave up 2 runs or less. So pretty solid numbers for Kirby. That's probably what I would do here, is I would look probably towards first 5 under. The homestand continues for Seattle. Kansas City does have to travel from LA up to Seattle for this. So a little situational advantage for the Mariners, but I'm not taking Seattle against the form of Singer right now, which is pretty good. So probably a first 5 under, if anything. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, but this line is sharp. Like even the 4, I like the under. This is ace 3.5 territory. Maybe go full game with the 7. Other than they got lit up the 1 start at home versus the Guardians. But I think that was the first start of the year. Kirby's been good at home. He really got a hit on the road. And Singer's just been solid, even solid on the road. I don't trust the bats of the Mariners. They've been spotty, been a little bit better of late. So I just wish we had the 4 in this game on the first 5. So I lean under, but give me the Royals. The price is too high with the Mariners. Yeah. And just like until they get going, I know Julio hit a homer. Like he's got to get going. He's been so slow to go to start the year. Because Polanco, Cal Raleigh, Ty France, Haniger, I mean, this guys can hit. It's like, where the fuck is it? So, yeah, Royals, though. This price, first 5, I think it's plus 135 around there. I'm on it.
All right, Giants and Dodgers, final game in the Bay Area. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the big offseason pickup for the Dodgers. Jordan Hicks for San Francisco. Dodgers minus 190, road favorites, 7.5 the total. Dodgers are in one of these ruts again, and they're going to do this. For as good as the lineup is, there's going to be games where it's like, what the fuck? No offense. And, King and the Padres in the first game over the weekend, they only scored 1 run. He pitched a gem against them. And then they got shut down by Darvish yesterday in the 4-0 loss to the Padres. So, it's weird what you get sometimes from this usually potent Dodgers lineup, but it's not like that every single game. Will they be able to hit Hicks is the big question here. The Dodgers, 250 average, 5.4 runs per game against righties. The Giants, meanwhile, will face Yamamoto here in this start for the Dodgers. And after what you could say was probably a bit of a slow, bad start we remember way back in South Korea in March to begin the season, he's now gone, 7 straight starts of 3 runs or less. So, he has pitched a lot better. Yamamoto here for the Dodgers of late. Could maybe this be another low-scoring game? I mean, right now might be the time to bet Dodgers unders because, the lineup is not just firing on all cylinders at the moment. And I don't know if the Giants are going to be ripping the ball against Yamamoto tonight. So maybe an under here. What do you think, C-Mac?
Yeah, this is low. The full game is where I'd be on this, the 7.5. The first 5's 3.5. The one thing Dodgers, and we'll see if Ohtani's in the lineup. He's had a back tweak. I don't know if he even plays today. He sat out yesterday. Hicks the one trouble he could get into is he's been really good this year, 3-1, but the walks, like he can't walk this Dodger team. No. With the lineup they have, there's just a big hit 3-run homer because some games he's looked good, but a few of these games he's walked 3 or 4 and he's had to work out of trouble. And, he's out by the 4th or 5th inning. But I love his stuff. I thought he's been good. Yamamoto all of a sudden settled in after getting tattooed. early on. I don't buy the weather. It's blowing out. That don't mean nothing really in San Francisco. So yeah, under 7.5 here in this game. And Giants, I kind of want them. Can they get a run or two off Yamamoto?
That's the big question because you're right. He has settled in and been better. Certainly the last several starts after that. Everyone remembers that horrible when he got lit up in Korea to begin the season. But really, since then, he's been a lot better, no question. All right, let's go to the NBA. 2 games in the NBA playoffs tonight. First one is in the East, Boston, Cleveland. Boston leading 2-1. They're 8.5-point road favorites in Game 3. 206.5, 207 the total. I think, look, this is a tricky game because Boston this is when against Miami in Game 4. Remember they fucked around and lost Game 2 against Miami? And then Game 3, they bounced back. Everyone thought they would. I thought they would do that against Cleveland too. But then in Game 4 against Miami, they also didn't screw around, and they put away Miami. They were the better team. They put Miami away and won both games on the road in Miami in the first round. Are they good enough and focused enough, Boston, to do that tonight against Cleveland? Although I think Cleveland is better than Miami, definitely, and certainly healthier. But are they good enough, Boston, to do that again? Game 3 was definitely the spot to bet Boston. There's no question. I don't know about tonight, though, because I do think Cleveland's better than Miami and will put up more resistance in Game 4 down 2-1 than Miami did. That's all about Boston's mentality. Do they finally have that, let's put our foot on the throat and end the series as quick as possible. Don't give the Cavaliers any life. So to me, it's a tricky game. I don't think I want much to do with the side. Put it this way. There's one prop I like. If Cleveland's going to probably show up, they're on their home floor. They have to have this one. They can't go back to Boston down 3-1. Bet over made threes and bet over points for Donovan Mitchell. It's really that simple. Like, if you want to take Cleveland tonight, I think just bet Donovan Mitchell props. Because if they're going to have a chance to pull the upset tonight and be competitive late in the game and tie the series, he's going to have to go off. He's going to have to be huge. He's going to have a big night, just like Anthony Edwards tried to have for Minnesota. Now, it didn't work out for Minnesota. They still lost last night, but I loved the Anthony Edwards props last night because he was talking to the media after Game 3. I didn't show up. I got to be better. I let my teammates down. I let the fans down. And he had a huge game. Now, they still lost, but it wasn't on him. He had a great game for Minnesota. I think for Donovan Mitchell, he's got to have that kind of a game offensively to give the Cavaliers a chance. So I think that's the thing I like the most in this game. Just take Mitchell over points, over made threes, rather than a side and rather than the Cleveland side, because I could see this being like last night. Mitchell goes off, but Cleveland still loses and they don't cover. You could see that. So Mitchell props is what I like the most here in this game tonight. C-Mac, what do you think? Game 3. Game 4, Boston, Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, he's been scoring 30 just about every game. And the 20.5 Jews or the 29.5 is plus money a lot of places. So he's limping around with the cat. He's going to play. I know he wasn't at shoot around, but he's going to play.
Yeah, he's going to play. Yeah.
I think he'll be all right. After the Game 3, I thought the Celtics beat him up, which they did. That I kind of want to take the Cavs. I hate hearing that. He's limping around. They just don't have the offense. They just don't at all. And the Celtics come to play, they'll hold them down. Because I kind of want to take the Cavs. I was looking at this game, and I just can't. And I've been on some weird spots with the Celtics. How great they've been first half. I haven't been on them enough. If they come to play, I think you look at them first half in this one. One other one, because I didn't think Cleveland would shoot it wildly successful, Bobano. Game 2, I was on their team total under. It's just been right back to they can't score 100 points.
Right.
So maybe they do tonight. This is like the NBA the last 2 days, as the hottest start I had in the NBA in the playoffs to get going. Last couple of days have not been great. But that's where I'd be on this. Their team total under, Celtics early. Don't really want to mess with them full game.
Yeah, definitely. Celtics first half, all season has been a pretty decent betting option.
It just seems like I'm going to take it here tonight.
Yeah,
Cavs are in it. They lead by 1 after first half.
I hear you. It feels like I don't think Cleveland's going to be an easy out for Boston tonight, but they could still wear down late. Defense ramps up for Boston, and they lose by 10. I could see that too, and they don't cover right at the end.
And I just think of Boston, these games that they've had. It was the last few years. That's why they haven't won the NBA championship. And horrible Heat team that's dealing with injuries, no Butler, blah blah blah. And then this Cavs team that's not in the best of health. But these soft ass games they have, it just from the back of my fucking mind. I gotta run right. Says
this. I have a clear bet and a clear opinion on this next game here. Dallas hosting Oklahoma City. Dallas up 2-1. We've got the Mavs 2-point home favorites, 215.5 the total here in this game. I am a bit concerned about OKC in that, look, they're starting to miss shots. Their defense the last couple games has had trouble with containing Luka and containing, containing PJ Washington, who's had a big couple of games here for Dallas in the last two. But I don't think Oklahoma City is going to go away quietly. I like that, they were down early in that game against Dallas and they battled back. They were tied. They took the lead even for a bit of the time in the second half. I don't think they're out of this series yet. I expect a great response, or at least a good enough response from the Thunder tonight to once again be in this game. I like the Thunder here +2. I think we have a chance to go back to Dallas tied at 2 in this series. I think the Thunder just tighten some things up here a little bit defensively. You can't have PJ Washington. I mean, if he goes off for 30 points again, they're going to be or 27 like he had in Game 3. They're going to be in trouble again, the Thunder. And look, they were up by 10, Oklahoma City in the third quarter, and then they just turned the ball over, bad shots, got cold from the field. Dallas started making some shots, and the next thing you know, that 10-point Thunder lead was gone in like 5 minutes. And then it felt from that point on, Oklahoma City never really regained momentum in that game. But that game was there for them. Like, they were up by 10, and they were on the verge of throwing a knockout punch in that game against Dallas. And then they went ice cold, and that's when Dallas made the run, and they eventually win that game. I think the Thunder find a way tonight. I'll take them +2 in this game, 4 against Dallas. That's the way I would approach it. And look, I would probably go over the total because I think Oklahoma City has to shoot the ball better than they did in Game 3. We'll see if they can be sharper. I mean, SGA did his thing, but again, Chet Holmgren struggled. Jalen Williams, had trouble. There were some shots for him to make, and he was not able to. And we've seen a series where it's been a bit of a zigzag series as far as the totals. Game 1 stayed under, Game 2 went over, Game 3 stayed under. So you figure now the zigzag might continue. We get an over here tonight in Game 4 with the Thunder and the Mavs. So Oklahoma City +2. And I also like this over here, 214.5, 215 with the total here, Thunder and Mavs. We'll get Connor's thoughts on the NBA game when he gets back in just a moment. In the meantime, actually, that's the end of the show because we got to ask Connor, too, when he rejoins us about the hockey tonight as well, the 2 games. And again, if you want my hockey thoughts, make sure you tune into the Ice Guys show earlier today. And we will, that was 2 p.m. Eastern. And you'll get my take on all the 2 NHL games tonight taking place between the Rangers and Hurricanes, and of course the Stars and the Avalanche as well. All right, again, we'll see if Connor rejoins us. If not, we'll end the show. But as far as best bets are concerned, we'll give you. I like Oklahoma City +2. That's definitely the clear best bet in the NBA for tonight. For me, I think they have a chance to tie this series up. Go back to OKC, tied at 2. So Oklahoma City Thunder +2 for my NBA best bet. For MLB best bet, let's take Oakland Houston over 8.5 -120. 6-0 to the over for the Athletics in their last 6 games. I think that has a pretty good chance to continue here tonight. So Oakland Houston over 8.5 -120 for best bet here for me for this Monday slate. We'll wrap up the show because I got to get going. I think Connor wanted to get rejoin us here, but sometimes connection-wise issues. But we'll end the show. If he mentions his best bet to me, I'll post it on Twitter. But another great edition of Bet with Bobano. We appreciate everybody joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. Also, a reminder: Patreon.com/Ice Guys, $10 per month. We have a Patreon exclusive live betcast for the Ice Guys tomorrow night on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. NHL live betting commentary. The only place to watch the betcast and to tune in and join us on the stream is signing up for just $10 per month. Patreon exclusive Stanley Cup Playoffs live betcast tomorrow night. Sign up for just $10 per month to access that. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. All right, that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us. Me and Cameron, another great edition of the show. Hit the like button on the way out. Enjoy the games and good luck, and have a great Monday night. Bet like Tony Soprano. Bet with Bobano. And we'll see you again on Wednesday later this week for another edition of Bet with Bobano.